Look, when was the last time that someone insulted your beliefs heavily, and then you decided to change your beliefs to the ones that they have? Probably never, or super rarely, right? Don't lose touch with the fact that you were not always vegan, right? You can't hate on someone who is doing something that you used to do as well, because at one point you were doing what they did. So you have to understand that there's a path to where you are, and so you can't judge people who are down the path that way or up the path that way. You just can't judge because we're all on the same paths. I've spoken with people at vegan events and online where when they hear about the way that I eat, right, because I have to eat so many calories for bodybuilding, it's a very different style of eating than the general, I guess, YouTube creator when they're talking about plant-based diets. They'll judge me because I have to eat so many calories, and I generally follow something like a 50 to 60% carbs, something like about 20 to 25% protein, and the rest in fats. And a lot of people think that's too high fats, it's too high proteins, it's too high calories, whatever it is. And in that sense, it's very discouraging for someone who is new to veganism. Luckily, I've been doing this for I think 2.5 years now. So it doesn't really bother me when people, tell me that my diet is wrong or whatever. It's not the most healthy version of veganism or whatever. That doesn't matter to me. But my point is, imagine that somebody is like me, and they want to go into veganism, so they still eat the same way when they switch over to veganism, except they just replace everything with plants. But you know what I mean? They're still getting the same amount of fats and proteins and still following the same dietary guidelines in terms of macro and calorie goals that they have always followed, because for them, that's what they like. If you get told immediately when you jump into a new thing like that from all the people who are in it that you're not doing it right, it's going to be very discouraging. It's like this. It's as if you wanted somebody to get really fit, right? You wanted them to change their life and get healthy and fit. And so they decided to go to the gym and start on a bicycle. And that's the first way they want to start getting any cardio in. And then you immediately scold them because the bike is not nearly as good as hiking, because hiking has all these additional benefits. You know what I mean? Instead of acknowledging and supporting and encouraging that first step of progression towards fitness and health, you shut them down because it's not enough. It's not perfect. It's not what you do. That's very discouraging. That is not the right way to do it. By the way, I've written all this down in bullet points because I have quite a few points here that I want to make, and I want to make them all concisely. So, veganism is hard. I think we can all kind of agree that veganism is hard for the general person who's followed the standard diet up to this point. It's hard to switch over to veganism. I agree with that. It's not an easy thing. Those of us who have succeeded at eating a plant-based diet for many years sometimes forget the fact that it is hard and that it takes time to go vegan. You know what I mean? And that alone is a difficult thing, but then you throw on the aspect of healthy food choices. And I think what we all need to remember is that veganism, plant-based dieting, is not the same as healthy food choices. They're completely two separate subjects. And I think we also need to remember that small steps lead to big steps. When you create subgroups that reject other subgroups within the same major group, you diminish the support aspect of a community, right? By making people feel unaccepted even by people who are within the same general umbrella of choice of eating plant-based, right? It's like when you talk to a bunch of people who have listened to one type of music their entire life, and you start getting into that music because, you just decide to open your mind up. Like, for example, I've never listened to metal music before. Not really. And I decided to start getting into metal a little tiny bit for my workouts when I was in high school. And when I first went up and talked to my friends who were heavily into metal, and I was like, I like this guy and this guy. For example, I was like, I kind of like Hatebreed. I think they're pretty cool. I would immediately be met with a bunch of people saying, oh, yeah, that's thrash metal, and that's so lame. What's actually cool is death metal, or like black metal. I don't know. There's so many genres. But see what I'm saying? When you get elitist about your subgenre of the main genre, it makes it so that you separate everyone and you remove the aspect of social feedback that makes you feel good, and it makes you just feel like you can never really be good enough. So like expanding on that last analogy, like I just said here, when you are trying to go vegan, a lot of times people are getting discouraged because they've made a mistake or they've fallen for a craving, right? And they post about it. And I think that's good. I think transparency is really good, especially when trying something new like veganism, a big switch. And so someone will post and say like, I broke down and I had that bagel from Einstein Bagels or something like that. They post it. I couldn't stick away from this cheesecake at this party. It's one of my favorite cheesecakes of all time. This is the only mistake I've made in a couple of weeks, right? I think that transparency is good, and I also don't think that making mistakes in anything is bad, especially with vegans. I don't think that mistakes, demerit you or anything like that. I think that you should still be praised for making a major switch over majorly. But when you're met with comments like, that causes cancer in your intestines, or no craving is worth a life. When you're met with that, it can feel like you're trying to impress a parent who's never impressible. You know what I mean? Like that general cliche of the student who's getting A's, but he didn't get an A+, or he didn't do the extra credit homework or something like that. And it's like, what do you want from me? Everybody else in the school doesn't give a crap about their grades, and neither do the parents. And then I'm over here busting my ass for an A, and I really want you to say, good job, son. But you don't. You tell me that it's still not good enough. You tell me another thing that I need to do. It becomes this never-ending list of things that you're not doing yet, and there's no praise aspect to it. I think a lot of us forget that people thrive off of social feedback. A lot of people specifically, they base their decisions, they base what they do in life entirely or majorly on people's feedback. And if people are supporting and encouraging them, then they go farther into whatever they're doing. If people discourage them and tell them that it's weird, then they feel insecure about it and they stop doing it. So a lot of vegan people can take new vegans and scare them away from the whole idea, because they go vegan and maybe they're eating junk food, maybe they're eating bean burritos from Taco Bell, because that's the easiest way for them to go vegan at first. Especially in some parts of the country, it's not really possible to go and get organic vegetables and things like that. So the first choice can be fast food. You know what I mean? And when you do that, instead of being met with good job, that's awesome, that you're trying to figure it out, that you're starting it out or whatever, that's so sick. Good job. I'm proud of you. That's awesome. Instead of being met with that, they're being met with, oh, did you know that has preservatives and you shouldn't be eating that? While that information is good and it is valuable, and I think there are ways that you do need to help enlighten people, because some people don't know about those things. I think that a lot of us tend to forget to praise first the person for doing the first major step of even deciding to open their mind towards it, and then we nitpick them with, you should be eating more whole foods, you should be eating things that are organic, you should be eating things that are preservative free. Or then you go into the diet subgenres, you should be eating high carb, low fat. Did you know that oils are inflammatory in your body? Did you know that this and that and this and that and this and that? And if you are a new vegan, if you even started listening to the first comment, and then you're like, okay, I'll start trying to eat organic food. And then you post something organic, and you have the wrong plate. You have, I don't know, the plate's wrong. It's plastic. It has BPA. And then someone's like, did you know that you shouldn't be eating BPA? If you're going to eat vegan, you might as well go all the way and be healthy. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, I guess my example here is not exactly perfect, but when you just keep giving new things that the person isn't doing right, instead of acknowledging the things that they have done right, it creates this idea that you'll never be perfect and that it's not really worth it because no one's ever really praising you. And again, it eliminates the community aspect of it. So I guess what my whole message of this video it boils down to is, for content creators and for those of us who are interacting with content, social media content, so that other people can see our comments, our feedback, and it can be used to create and set the general tone of vegans and veganism in the world, we need to encourage the first step of even being open-minded. Because encouraging that first step of being open-minded can then lead someone down the road to realizing that when they've been vegan for a month or something like that, even when they're not eating the perfect foods, they're still eating some junk foods, they're going to notice the health benefits. Maybe they have less mucus, they have less headaches. They're going to notice the health benefits, then they're going to notice the ethical benefits and possibly the ecological benefits. And all that stuff comes from being encouraged enough to continue on from your first trial run of maybe a lot of people do a week, or a lot of people try to do a month or even a day. And if they get discouraged before they can finish that first time limit, then they'll never get to those more medium and long-term results that really encourage you to stick to it forever, for a lifelong term. And if we do that, then those people won't ever realize that, and they won't stick to it, and then they'll just be gone. And not only will they be gone, but they will also go around talking to other people about how rude vegans are, or how the diet didn't work for them because they didn't get to the point far enough for the diet to actually show them health benefits. So they'll start telling people that there actually is no benefit to it really. And all of it becomes counterproductive because as plant-based and vegan people ourselves, we didn't encourage them in the first place when they started trying it. So that's my message, is try to be more positive to people. Try to show people appreciation and good feedback for even trying, man, because man, I just came back from Florida. It's my first day back, and I've only slept by 4 hours, so I'm sorry if this video is wonky, but I just came back from Florida, and a lot of those people in Jacksonville haven't even heard of veganism before. I had to explain what the word meant. When I said plant-based, they kind of understood more of a veganism. They didn't get it. So a lot of people don't even know what it is in the first place, so don't discourage them before they even get informed on it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the video for today. I hope you guys, kind of understand what I'm saying here. If I worded it wrong or anything, please don't take my words out of context. I think most of you understand what I'm trying to say here. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure that you do leave a comment and expand on this, and let me know what your thoughts are on this as well. Make sure that you give it a thumbs up, because that's the best way to make sure that these videos do get out to other people. And subscribe if you're not subscribed already. There are more videos coming this week. I have Hercules coming again because I'm back in San Diego, so I can work on Hercules. So there's going to be a Hercules episode next Wednesday. I'm excited about that. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Team Beyond the Week. CT.
Lift heavy or die Myron, motherfucker.
Team Beyond the Week. CT.
Lift